So today in Young Adult Matters, we are talking about cohabitation. And right before the break, very interesting point, that if a relationship is not bringing you closer to Christ, then maybe it's time to revisit that relationship. You were mentioning how, the spousal relationship should bring you closer to holiness. Sure. And I want to ask you guys, what suggestions would you have for our audience, for young adults out there, for people that are dating, courting? How can they live a Christ-centered relationship?
I think one of the best things that we're talking during, getting ready, is understanding the real definition of love. A lot of the times, the things that we do, the people that we hang out with, the actions, the things that we say are very temporary because they satisfy us temporarily. They're not a sure thing. Those that are into alcohol, into drugs, that's a temporary kind of satisfaction for everybody. It wears off and they keep doing it and doing it and doing it. So at the same time, it's understanding what the definition of love, so we don't kill our soul. We keep beating our soul with what we think is love, sleeping around or, dating this guy after another or dating this girl after another girl.
The whole hookup culture.
Yeah, pretty much. And a lot of it is that because pardon me, my personal opinion is people cohabitate together because they rather, for example, let's say it's me, I'd rather live with this guy than lose him, because I'm getting that love from this specific guy, because he loves me. If he really loves me, he wants to support me, and he's going to give me a shelter.
And one of the things that sometimes people, statistics have shown and studies have shown that when couples are cohabiting, they don't really function the same because they're afraid of exactly that, of losing what they think they have in a nice little package. In the sense that, when a couple is dating, they have an opportunity to get to know each other, to get to know what they're like. And if they don't like something, well, she goes home to her house and he goes home to his house. They have an opportunity to think about this and then relook at the relationship. How do we continue to build this to a healthy relationship? But if they're living together, where are they going to go? They're already there, so they're afraid sometimes to speak up and to look at real issues, because it's a different kind of relationship. And
they're trapped somehow.
They're not as free. Again, we talked earlier about what makes, a sacramental marriage. It has to be free, faithful, fruitful forever. They're not as free to enter into a healthy relationship. And as, y'all know, through the PIC program, we talk about what are the, the different bonding issues. And it's that you have to know somebody really well before you trust them, trust before you rely before commit, and commitment before sexual intimacy. And that's one of the things I like about that program, because I think that's just sociological research. But in many ways, it's showing what the church, in the wisdom of the church, has always taught, that sex is sacred and that it has a place in marriage, not before marriage or outside of marriage. That is the best place. And so in cohabitating situations, they're in, but they're not in. And so it's difficult for people to know that they put themselves in a difficult situation. And of course, every single situation is unique, but we're looking at things in broad strokes. Are there going to be individual situations, that are distinct from that? Yes. But if we look at the broad strokes, what is it that makes something, if in marriage we're called, as you said, to bring each other to holiness, then how do we do this in a situation where we don't have the commitment to marriage, or not yet?
And Joe, would you have any practical suggestions? I mean, how could somebody live a more Christ-centered relationship?
Well, I think it begins with understanding that it is a process, and we can tie it into, God didn't just snap His fingers and create. There was a process and an intention to creation and how we've come to be, and there's a process to the creation or the relationship within that matrimony. Like for example, in a flower, it's a seed, it germinates, it grows, and then the stem and the leaves come out, and then finally it flowers. And I think it begins with understanding that that's true in a relationship, that there's the courtship stage, and then, okay, I like you, you like me, okay, now that's, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and then the different stages that then leads to being an engaged couple, then being a newlywed, and then growing, and then the family. And understanding those stages will help in a relationship. And a practical way of doing it is the communication, and we always hear communication is the key, but it's understanding, and like you said, understanding the other person, that I'm giving 100%, they're giving 100%, and we're meeting at 100%. And so some of the ways that they can do it together is by that, doing it together and to growing. And like the same way you feed a plant that's going to grow is you have to nourish it. Going to attending the PIC program, programs like the marriage preparation, or just different ways to understand what the church teaches in the broader spectrum. Because a lot of times we focus on, well, the church says marriage is man and a woman, but there's a bigger doctrine, and there's a whole doctrine behind the sacrament of marriage, and understanding, respecting the person as a child of God, each other. And I heard once, and I can't remember, I've been trying to remember where I heard it, but is that love will yield life. And if love doesn't yield life to a fruitful relationship with a person, or sometimes, like we said, you're not free, then where's the life in that relationship? It's being inhibited and it's being brought down. So, number one practical way is learn, know what the church says, because what society says is very loud. It's a very loud voice. So attending programs, listening sessions with Bishop Flores, Theology on Tap, which is coming up November 5th. Those are all practical ways that I think they engage together, and then you can do it.
How about this? How about praying together?
And I was just going to say that, that one of the things that's very, that I have found very heartwarming is we have retreats, marriage preparation retreats for couples in varied, situations. And for me, it's very heartwarming to see that many, many couples do pray together, engaged couples, and they are, all of us, I think, are seeking to have a closer relationship to God, to understanding ourselves better as God's creation. And one of the great things about marriage is that we have somebody that can help us to become holy.
Yeah.
And I think that many young people do have that, we all have that in the heart of our hearts. And I see engaged couples, they pray together, and hopefully that will help lead them, and all of us, to a better understanding of the place that God has for us individually in this world. That, and also for, I know for myself and my relationship with my girlfriend, she would go to church on Sunday, and I would go to my parish on Sundays. But then when we, started going to church together, I go to her parish or she'll go to my parish. It's another bond. It's another connect. Yeah. Because I think part of again, talking about the process of the relationship is finding those points of connection. Where you're connecting the dots, and prayer and going to Mass. She's already going to Mass. I'm already going to Mass. Well, why aren't we going together? And I think that's been able to help us grow in the relationship and strengthen that.
So praying together, going to Mass together. Amy, have you seen any best practices with some of your friends, or in your life experience?
I think a lot of it is understanding where you each stand in your faith, and I mean that's the whole point of helping each other become a saint, to become a holy. Is where I'm weak, I hope to this person to help me out, or where he's weak, I hope to help him out to become a saint, because that's what we're called to do. Our calling is to become holy, to become saints, but we each have our own way to getting to it. And I think it's pretty much just a generalization of what they said together. It's just helping each other and whatever lacks in your faith for one another. And if neither of you know, go seek, go look, ask questions. If we don't talk about it, nobody's gonna ask questions because we're scared. We're scared que nos regañen, que nos digan that we're saying something wrong. So I think that would be the best thing, just help each other in any sense. And that's what I've seen. Like, well, he doesn't know much about this, but I'm gonna take him to Theology on Tap. I'm gonna take him to Theology on Tap so we can listen to, we can hear what's actually going on.
So you mentioned Theology on Tap, and it is a wonderful opportunity to learn more about our faith. And in the next Theology on Tap, we will continue talking about that. So we want to invite everyone to Oxygen Bar in Harlingen, November the 5th at 7 o'clock. And if you want more information on Theology on Tap and a lot of other things happening with young adults, please visit our website, cyam.net. So unfortunately, we've run out of time, but we will continue chatting at Theology on Tap. And thank you so much. It was an honor to have you on the show. Guys, thank you for all your sharing as well. And stay tuned till next time. You're watching Young Adult Matters, and we will be back next week.